rolling.
All right, Ethan, we're gonna start showing up 2 ways to use the bands on the bench, and you can do the same thing with squats too, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how to use them from the bottom, all right? And then we'll show you how to use them from the top. I'll show you how to hook them up. And you can take the same ideas we're using right here, and you can use them on squats too. You can squat from the bottom with them or from the top. I would say do both. You'll feel it differently. I think it's, when you have them hanging from the bottom or the bands are from the bottom on squat, I think it's, you have to stay under more control. I think the weight helps you more, and say it helps you stay straight, squatting and benching when they're hanging from the top. You got to stay a lot tighter, I think, when they're from the bottom. But I'm just going to show you how I set, the other one's already set up. I'm going to show you how I set this one up. The dumbbell's right here, and I just double them over. Probably need heavier dumbbells in this, but
What weight are those dumbbells?
110.
Okay.
So as long as they're going to stay down, it's going to be heavy enough. And I'd say put the dumbbells about, where you're going to be in the middle, so that you're not fighting against the bands. You're just letting them pull against you, and then pull the weight down with gravity. You're not trying to, don't put it too high up over your shoulders or too down here, because it's going to pull you that way too. So make sure they're even with your range of motion. And basically the same thing. I would definitely say, when you're using bands either way, you definitely need to have someone pick for you, because it's going to put way too much tension on your elbows and stuff when you first pick it up, and when you go back, because it's going to, as soon as you come out of the groove, the bands are going to fling you all over the place. So whoever picks it up and gives it to you is going to have to make sure you're steady with the weight first before they hand it to you, because your first initiation is going to be like this. So before you actually start pressing or doing your negative, you need to make sure the weight is really stable, because any weaknesses you have there, any unbalance you have, if your feet aren't balanced, if your shoulders aren't dug in, it's going to throw you differently. So you got to stay really tight, and that's what it's really good for. But you'll start to feel the band tension ease up at the bottom, but then you'll start feeling it really, really heavy at the top. So that's what it's really good for. And then we'll show you how to use it from the top also. Maybe just swing around. We're going to do basically the same thing, just, we have this set up, but you can just pretend it's a squat cage or whatever. And all you're going to do is swing it over, and then just put one in and then the other, like that. So this time you're only going to be, single tension, whereas on the bottom it was double, because the dumbbells have to double over like that. With your squatting, you definitely don't want to double it like that from the bottom, so. But you don't have to, just put it in once and raise it up to here. But you can see there's not enough room there to double, you have to double them there. So all you do is pull it down and just do it just right like that, and then do the same on the other side. And there you go. Same way, it's going to get lighter at the bottom and heavier at the top. But you'll find it is way different doing from the bottom or the top. So I think if you just want to see how much weight you can really hold over your head and stuff like that, you want to do more weight, I think this actually helps you better, because it helps stabilize you. This actually helps destabilize you, if that makes sense. You have to stay way tighter and everything's got to be perfect. If you want to see how much weight you can handle and that kind of stuff, that I think coming from the top, I think is the way to go. I think with your confidence it helps a lot, because as you go lower, especially on squatting, it's awesome. It makes you want to sit lower because you get more help from the bands too at the bottom. So, is there anything else?
And just explain like the one of the bones is gonna help pop from his chest.
Yeah, you're going to get overload at the top both ways like this, but at the bottom you're going to get more pop obviously from these at the bottom. And depending on how you got the band set up, you can make them double or not, and you can really get some serious help. Like I said, these from the bottom is going to want to pancake you. So you have to really get it moving off the bottom. Either way, you have to get it moving, because it's going to get progressively heavier. So what you need to do is get the weight moving as fast as you possibly can, because the weight's going to be so overloaded at the top that there's no way you're going to be able to get it up if you don't get it moving really fast. So it really works. You have to get the weight moving off your chest that way. because the weight's gonna get just heavier and heavier and heavier. I mean, if the weight ever stops, you're never gonna get it up because it's only gonna get heavier and heavier and heavier. So you just have to, it's really good for speed, but it's also good just to be able to feel heavier weight on you. You know, I think it helps with the freak out factor later when you take the bands off using heavier weight. You've already felt that, you know, when someone hands the weight off to you, you don't freak out right away. Same with the squats, when you unrack it and you feel that weight on your shoulders, you're like, I already felt this weight before. So I think it's really good for both of those.
Make sure somebody's picking, make sure somebody stays with them.
Someone, yeah, you need to find someone when you're doing bands. I would say, I mean, no matter what, but especially if it's from the floor, you have to have a picker all the time, and then you stay pretty close because, like I said, it wants to destabilize you so much, and if all of a sudden you come out, if you're not tight, you know, it's going to come down, so someone needs to be there right away. This one will help you stay in that groove a little more, and that's why I say it's good for like really feeling heavy weight and seeing the plates. You know, that way your head doesn't freak out because you'll see more weight over here than you used to, and then you'll hand it off and you're like, oh, I can do this. So that way when you take the bands off, all of a sudden you're not like, holy shit, I'm gonna bench, you know, however much weight. And you've already felt it anyway, so it's no big deal. But again, this tries to help keep you in line. It's really good for control, again, with that heavier weight. This, you're gonna see less weight on the bar when they're from the bottom, but it's gonna be heavy as hell. So, like I said, that one though, as soon as you unlock your elbows, it's gonna wanna push you down so fast. So it really makes you stay tight and fight that weight down, and then as soon as you push, you gotta push so hard to get that weight moving. And it's just gonna get heavier and heavier as you go up. So, like I said, this is, you know, this is more overload here, and I think it's good for your head as far as seeing the extra weight on there and feeling real weight that's heavier. This is kind of the opposite, where this one will humble you a lot from the bottom, and you just have to stay, your form has to be perfect. I mean, obviously you should be perfect all the time, but you have to stay so tight all over the place when they're from the bottom, because it will pull you and push you all over the place where you don't want to go if you let it. Squats is the same way. You come out anywhere, and you know, and like I said before, don't unlock it. Don't unlock your, you know, don't start your descent until that weight is perfectly steady. Because if it's shaking at all, you know, as soon as you start to go down, it's gonna pull you all over the place. So make sure you're super steady on that. Anything else? No. All right, we're good. If you have any questions, just let us know.